Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt, fix several years of financial misbehaviour, and try and navigate yet again another month where my income is lower than what it should be by kind of normal standards. It's 5 a.m. here in the UK and I am still full of cold, so this video there might be sneezing, there might be coughing, there might be spluttering. There is definitely brain fog, which is going to contribute to a bit of long pauses, but if you want to stick by that and see me try and work out a budget for June, by all means, grab a coffee. I'm certainly going to have some of mine right now. And welcome along. We may get interrupted by Mr. Bowie because he thinks 5 a.m. is the perfect time to have breakfast. It's not. But I was up and awake and I get paid tomorrow, so I kind of need to do a budget. I've been feeling a bit under the weather as well for about 3 days, which is why there hasn't been a video so far this week. It does tend to happen. I tend to kind of hit a school holiday period, particularly if I have been working, and then like my body just goes, "We're just going to force a stop on you." So I just kind of get like coldy fluey symptoms, which on top of me just being a generally unwell human right now is not the best thing in the world. Do let me know down in the comments how the sound is for this video. I'm trying to go as loud as I can for feeling a bit rubbish, but do let me know. June, thankfully, is a 4-week and 3-day month. Therefore, there is not an extra week that I need to find petrol or fuel for, or food or anything like that. But it is also a week where I feel like it's going to fill up. Now, at the moment, I've only actually got one thing booked in that is kind of a cost, so to speak. And it's a pre-booked exhibition, albeit the tickets are pre-booked, but the travel is not. And the kind of things around the day are not. It's something I booked a while back. As soon as we got it released, my sister and I are going to the Cartier exhibition because I'm a magpie who loves shiny, sparkly things. And to me, Cartier is the pinnacle of shiny, sparkly things. And as someone who has previously worked in film and costume and spent a long time looking at iconic pieces of both jewellery and clothing, the chance to see some of these things in person, which I've only ever seen in a book, for the princely sum of £13 plus train fare and a couple of coffees is not one that I am going to turn down. That being said, sometimes you go into a month with the feeling that it's going to be busy, and that is what I'm trying to account for. Now, my payday is already starting off in a busy manner because I'm helping my sister, who is due to move house in about a month, move some things from her house in my car very, very early tomorrow morning, which is partly why I'm up so early today, so I can kind of get my body mildly okay with a 5 a.m. get up. Except today I kind of pushed it to 4 a.m. Oh dear. Now, although that will initially be petrol on me, that petrol will be reimbursed, and I'll get kind of a coffee and things on the way. That'll be paid for by my sister. And let's just say, in my last video I made reference to kind of reliable / non-reliable kind of stakeholders and people who on paper should be there to help with things like this. I'm not the only person they are being unreliable for, and so my brother and I are stepping up to support my sister, because moving house when you're also trying to be a teacher during term time without help is very, very difficult. Now, the month starts and I've got kind of my last weekend, so I am also hosting a friend. That may mean a little bit extra in terms of food, but that is fine. I've accounted for that on my food shop, and I'll take you through that in a second. I've kind of plotted in a couple of numbers, and then I realised that I might as well just do that with you guys anyway. The car boot that was meant to happen on Wednesday was rained off, so as in yesterday. I can't say I'm unhappy about that with how rubbish I feel. The car boot on Monday was rained off, which is a bit disappointing, and we were rained out of the car boot on Sunday. So my decision that I would attend all 4 car boots, no matter how I feel, has kind of been taken out of my hands because the car boot here on the 1st is also forecast torrential rain and gale force winds. So not looking good. From a health perspective, it's probably a really good thing. From a money perspective, not so great. So I have provisionally moved to the 8th to try and see if I can do a car boot then. Don't know if it's something I'm going to manage, but we'll see. And then I have not committed to any more car boots at this time because I want to kind of narrow down my focus. I don't know whether it's some kind of cosmic, karmically timing that I don't have and haven't been able to make any car boots this week. I don't know whether it's a way of the universe or whatever going, no, you need to narrow your focus down to these things and you know what these things are. So my month is looking nice and compact. Coffee break. Okay. Now I have rounded my wages slightly down. It was 1,502 something. I've rounded them down to 1,500. I want to try and leave the 2 something just in my account. And I also want to make my money easier. Now, again, with the full transparency, I haven't reconciled May's budget for the last 3 weeks. So while I know there will be a rollover, what I think has happened, because my foot has not been on the brakes, well, my foot has been on the brakes, that's probably the better analogy, for May, and I've not been pushing Vinted, I've not picked up eBay, and I've left my Etsy pretty dormant since putting the digital only products on there. Because there has been this safety cushion of knowing that I've got this rollover in my budget. I want to try and basically not have the rollover exist. And that's not me going and just spending whatever it is. And it's not me necessarily rushing to put it in a cash stuffing. I kind of want to just shove it in a Monzo pot because I bank with Monzo and basically treat it like it's not there. And therefore treat it like it's not coming into my budget, because all it will do is give me again a sense of security because this month is fine, but then it's not then putting anything on me to go ahead because the month is fine to build up that extra money. At the end of the month, if it's still sitting there and I've not had to touch it, and then fingers crossed my wages are as close to back to normal as possible, because let's face it, 75% pay is going to be a hell of a lot better than 50% pay if that's what I'm on. It's something which I just want to play around with and see. If I think this money isn't there and I treat it like it's not there, will that change how I go about refining my 3 focuses? And my 3 focuses are to restock my Vinted, because I have discovered through trial and error that if I put clothing on, clothing starts to sell. If I then put sewing patterns on, I lose all clothing sales, which is weird. It's like the Vinted algorithm can't quite work out that you are selling a variety of items, and so it just kind of stops pushing your items out to either party. It's like clothing isn't getting seen and sewing patterns aren't getting seen, and I have an abundance of sewing patterns and crafting stuff still, and I also have an abundance of clothing and wearable accessories still. So that was a real kind of like, I've looked at this for 2 weeks, I have been listing, I have certainly been doing those things, but the views aren't there, which on an item I was just like, okay, wonderful, this is something I'm going to have to think tactically. I've talked about doing eBay. I do need to do eBay. I have got things that I can get a good amount of money on, that I'm happy to sit on and store, that I'm happy to wait. eBay is also a case of you have to kind of be listing for about 2 weeks with no sales for eBay to kind of see that you are a human and wants to push things out and wants to see you and wants to have you there. Equally, and again with the whole candid honesty, which for okay, cool. Brutally honest about my financial life. The temptation and the urge to go buy more things to list on eBay and Vinted is really strong, particularly when the things aren't moving. And I think they're not moving because I think I killed my clothing sales by putting sewing patterns on, but I had sewing patterns sitting around that I needed to list. So There's been a few times those past couple of weeks where I was like, when I get paid, I'm going to go and spend the whole lot and buy some more things to sell. And that's not what I'm going to do, but that's just kind of how it feels like. Maybe the things I have aren't quote unquote good enough. Or maybe people are just waiting for payday. But that's where we go. And then also getting physical bundles on Etsy. Now I have been, where are you? I have been going through and making up and trying to work out what my stock count is. When I previously ran an Etsy business, I operated on a just-in-time basis, which was I would get an order and then I would make to complete that order, until I got so busy that I couldn't generate anything new because all of my time was just spent like making to fulfill existing orders. I therefore had very limited creativity, and my lead times were longer. So what I'm trying to do with the physical products, because there will be physical products, is make sure that I've got my stacks of bundles pre-made. I then know what I need to cut. The room that I'm filming in, I will do an office tour of because it is completely tidied and away and mostly organised without kind of labels on things. But physical products I want to try and get in terms of bundles, like the Jewel Challenge bundle, the Seasonal Challenge bundle, etc, etc. I want to try and get all of those things on Etsy by the end of the first week of June, which is the 8th of June, so you can tell me off in the comments if I've not done that. And also get more Whoopsie bundles built up as well. Yeah, that's what I want to try and get done. So I want to try and refine my focus back into these three things. Restocking Vinted, because killing off all of my listings and all of my algorithm means that I'm going to need to relist clothing. eBay. Need to do eBay. Need to do eBay. You can fully call me out in the comments by the 8th. If I'm back on here on the 8th and I haven't done anything on eBay, please call me out. And then physical bundles, get them on Etsy. Individual challenges won't yet be on Etsy, but I'll try and get the physical bundles on, because individual challenges I want more of a stack of stock made up and cut. My wages are, I've rounded down, £1,500. I've mentioned the rollover, and I'm not sure as well if I'm going to include like the 20 odd pound taking that I did have in my budget, that I achieved through my Sunday budget. This is going to be a slightly long budgeting planning video. This is all of the things that I need to kind of go through. I'm wondering if I treat it as though all I've got is the £1,500 and I need to grow it, is that going to kind of put a bit more impetus and give me a bit of a kick up the bum? Certainly from a stamina and energy perspective, it's taken me about 3.5 weeks to adapt to being back at school and to having time in the afternoons and the evenings where actually I can use them meaningfully and not just kind of passing out and falling asleep. So I'm going to say that my budget for this week is £1,500, and that's my budget for the whole month. Now, I've pre-populated my rent, I've done my mobile, car tax has gone up, thank you so much, because that's what we need in the world. And then my council tax, I, at the minute, don't really have it set up on a direct debit, because I moved the direct debit to the 23rd, thinking I would line it up. And they've raised my council tax on the basis of me moving it by £20 a month. Don't know why. Don't know how. So I need to look at that. I probably need to get on the phone, because I'm also fairly sure that with my income being lower, I shouldn't be paying as high as I am. I'm not sure. But my council tax has now gone up to £146 a month on the basis of me shifting the direct debit to the 23rd, and I think what they have done is they have basically taken one of the extra months and split it across all the others. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know why. So I'm just going to pay it like on the 1st and just get it out and done, if that's what we're doing. 126, which is what it was easier to find through YouTube than 146. It's rare that I get a YouTube payout in excess of £120, and even £120 is unusual, and certainly me being off ill has not helped matters. Now, I have a few bills which can and are spread throughout the month. So I have Yes, Bowie. I have my Wi-Fi, which is 35. As long as that's paid by the end of the month, that's the main thing. Oh my goodness! Look, here's me trying to do a budgeting video. I'm sleepy, and you're like needy. What are my bills? I've got my Google storage, which is 3. That goes out on the 16th. Where's my normal month? I've got my contents insurance, which is coming out week 2. And that's 671. My car insurance is the 26th, and that's 58. So normally I try and get as many bills out the first week as possible. I'm a big proponent of cash flow, not needing to be a thing just in business. I also think cash flow and the amount of money that you have access to on hand within your budget outside of savings needs to be something that you think about as well within your normal budget. On that basis, I am actually going to let my bills go out when they should. And we're probably about to be greeted by the cat because he's being a needy monkey. You got to come up and say hi to people. No, come back. Do you ever just look at your animals and just go, love me? What are you doing? It's a bee. He's a naughty boy today. He is complaining that he is not getting enough food. Talking of, we need to get you food. Hang on, let me get my breath back. I'm not an example of a healthy human being. Yeah, you flick your tail, mate. So I'm going to let those bills go out normally. I've got YouTube Premium, which is my only subscription because I do not need Amazon this month. I don't think. Amazon is something that I'm paying for on an as and when basis. I realised when I was off that there was a 3-month period where I didn't need it. I paid for it once, got all the things I needed on that month. Things like packing supplies and stuff, which are paid for out of my Vinted earnings before I then take my Vinted earnings into account. Yeah. So, let's have a look. 16 plus 1706. I mean, it's going to be high because I know, brain. It's going to be high because of the rent payment and because of the council tax. So £1,142.05. And just a reminder, I'm putting myself on a leaner amount of money and not giving myself the rollover to try and force me to do things. As a result of that, I'm not at this stage declaring any savings. I have got my float, which is floating around downstairs somewhere. That has got kind of lots of small change and a couple of notes in there. In theory, I could put those into a challenge. I could put that towards like the cat or something like this. If I do end up doing a car boot sale, it's a float that I don't need to go and find. So I'm just wondering if I keep that perpetually floating outside my budget. Kind of it's there, but it's not there. Something I've got to decide. But at the moment, I've got a £357.95 carryover. Now, I will be able to talk about my pension savings from next month. I know a lot of you who are teachers in my comments have said, look, use the actual pensions statement that you're getting. My pension statement still hasn't updated. It has taken... I started work at my school in September. it took until the end of April for them to send me through them. You must register and log into your details for the first time. And then when I logged in and registered, it was like, we're still waiting on this information. They don't move quick. So I'm still tracking this. What I might do is when I get the statement, go through and add on any extras and then build from there. But I'm going to be waiting a while for that. So £357.95. Now, cat food is 15. I'm going to try and get him one of the big multi-packs of food. I think like a 40 pack. I think they're about £15. If they're a little bit more, I'll just spend a couple more pounds, it's fine. But that's £15 for the week. If I can get a big multi-pack, then that'll definitely be more than a week's worth, but I'm not sure. My food I'm putting is 120, but that is for 2 weeks plus hosting a guest. So that's something I did in May, which worked out really, really well. I did a very big food delivery, and by big, I spent around about the 100 to 120 mark, and a couple of like fresh shops, and I did no other big shop and have done no other big shop throughout May. I've merely picked up the odd item here or there that I have needed to bulk out meals and get things done. Now, I could definitely eat from my pantry, and I could go ahead and do a pantry challenge, but I want to bring that in. Thank you. I want to incorporate eating from my pantry a lot more to bring my overall food bills down and balanced. And if I go ahead and do a full pantry challenge for just 1 month, that's great for 1 month, but then I will need to top it up at the end. And at the minute, my income isn't there to do that. So I've got £120 to spend. I will spend 120. I've got fuel as 50. Now that fuel is whatever I spend on my extra long trip tomorrow will get reimbursed to me. So this will cover my immediate payout for that. And then also my driving to and from work next week. What it might be a case of, oh, you're looking at my hands. I'm scared. What it might also be a case of is that I don't top up 50 in one go. I'm down to half a tank, so I don't need to. I'm not going to physically fit 50 quid's worth of fuel into my car. I do need some toiletries. Hello, sweetie. And that's going to be about £20 because, again, something I've tried to not buy a lot of throughout May and only replace them as and when, and not I think I'm running out. But I'm at the point where I need deodorant and toothpaste and stuff, and they always go on as an added extra. What else do I need? What am I up to? £152.95 left. I don't think I need clothes. I'm going to put my personal spending as 70. Because yes, my income is low, and yes, I will still give myself spending money. I think everyone should. Oh, I've put 100, never mind. My personal spending for this week is going to be 70. Like I said, I am hosting a friend. We may choose to go out for coffee. We may choose to do something like that. So that's 70. And that takes us to 275. I feel like I'm missing a crucial category. Father's Day is done. Father's Day is done. Haven't got any major birthdays. I'm probably forgetting something, so I'm going to put a miscellaneous 25 because I feel like I am. And if you feel like you're forgetting something in your budget, whack down a miscellaneous category. And that takes us to 300 for this week. Now, what I'm not going to be able to do is a online food shop. I'm going to have to drag myself out to both Aldi and somewhere else to try and see if I can get the prices for what I have. Hi, sweetie. Oh, squitchy scratchies. And then I have a rollover at the minute of £57.95, and my focus for the ninth to the 15th, I've got Google storage. Now, I know that I'm about to do the maths and it's going to deliver me a minus. What the minus should do is tell me that's how much I need to bring in. Content insurance, 671. So therefore that's 971 on bills. Okay, my fuel is going to be £25. My food, because I will do a fresh top up at this point, probably towards the latter half of the week, will be about 15. So I'd probably say around about the 12th. I'll make sure that I've got enough fresh food in, because again, unhealthy, so need to be healthy. It's an ongoing battle. If there's a good offer on things like frozen fruit and stuff at the minute, what I might do is get some of those and make up some like frozen fruit smoothies instead, in which case this will become null and void. But I will see. I need to do a fair bit of batch cooking, and try and get those meals done. It's something that I used to and have done and do successfully. It's just where I've not been well. It's just something I've not given time and energy for, but I need to bring it back in. Cat is going to be right. I'm saying that the cat is 15, working on the assumption that I can't get my hands on a big multi-pack. If I can get my hands on a big multi-pack, there's probably realistically going to be like no more than £2 or £3 spent on the cat. But we're planning just in case. Always make sure you're allowing for spending, and I'm going to make that 25. And then nothing on savings and nothing on debt. I don't think I need toiletries, and I don't think I need household. Now, I do have some vintage sales pending. So at the minute, this is showing me that if I bring in a £57.95 rollover, I need to bring in £31.76 at least, assuming that I hit all of these categories. I don't go over, I don't go under, I just hit them square on, and I've thought of all of the bills that are coming out this week. Therefore, I'm going to set my extra income target, which I'm going to put as other for now. I'm going to make my extra income target 150, and this should be the payout that comes in from everything I've listed and sorted, providing stuff sales from the first week. So anything I'm saying I want to bring in, I want to have brought that over from the week before. That therefore gives me, if I do that, a rollover of 118.24. Now I do have the rollover within my May budget, which I'm forgetting exists. I'm trying to forget that it exists and cancel it out to try and hit that target there. That rollover 118.24 is going to run from the week of the 16th to the 22nd, so it's the V&A week. Trains are 40, That's going to be about a £75 day. What else have I got? What else have I got this week? Got Wi-Fi. Bowie, what are we doing? You can hassle as much as you want, but it's not going to speed up the fact that you're not getting food before 7 a.m. Okay? No, head scratches. Here we go. Yeah. Got Wi-Fi coming out at 25. No, 35. I wish it was 25. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? I'm going to put my water bill in here. And that's going to be 40. So 75. Food for this week is going to be about 40. Fuel for this week is going to be a little bit more. It's going to be 30. Cat is going to be 15. No meds are needed. No vet appointment is needed for him. Like, this is the first week or the first month where I don't need to spend £300 on the cat. Trying to see, and I can't see because of you. Toiletries and household. Just things like cleaning products and stuff. I'm going to whack at 20 because I know what I'm going to run out of by then. So hang on. So at the minute, again, assuming I don't spend any more, I don't spend any less, I spend straight on, and I've remembered all of my bills. I'm minus £136.76 on the week. Therefore, my other income target is going to be £250. Working again on the basis that I've put work in the week before. And this is where I really have to put work in the week before. So I'm carrying a rollover of £113.24. For the week of the 23rd to the 29th. Is this reverse engineering a budget? It's probably reverse engineering a budget. We have car insurance and we have energy. We're also going to have food, which is going to be 20. We're going to have fuel, which is going to be, hello Bowie, 25. I've got cat, which is 15. So again, if I can get my hands on a multi-pack, it's a bit hit and miss in my area, they go really quick. So if I can get my hands on a multi-pack, the cat every other week will not be £15, it will be like 3 to 5. But let's allow for the fact that he's having £60 for the whole month. still giving myself spending money. I know that some people won't agree with it. There's no category for hair, there's no category for clothing. I'll just sort that out of my own spending money, which is what I think should be the case, but I'm not going to rehash old ground there because I might upset some people. And I'm going to whack miscellaneous 25 on because we have a school trip that I'm attending and I want to make sure I've got a little bit of cash in hand or cash on my card just in case. The school's covering everything, the school's covering my entrance, like I'll take a packed lunch and stuff with me, but I want to have just a little bit of cash just in case. We're not doing anything like super fancy schmancy, but yeah, so we're automatically into minus because I've got my energy and I've got my car insurance, and I want to talk about what I'm doing with my energy in a separate video because I have arrears and it's a problem. Now, at the minute, I'm going into the week when I'm on a minus £174.76 is what I could end the month on. It is YouTube payout week, so I'm immediately anticipating about £100 payout for this month. Obviously, the final numbers will come out in the wash once it's been kind of a couple of days post monthly. That's how it works. But I can see an average running total so far, so I'm confident in declaring that I'll get about £100. What that means, however, is that I am down £74.76. So let's set a target again for 250, because that then leaves me £75.24 in theory that I can play with, that I can put towards savings, that I can build on. And then at the end of the month, let's see where I am. Have I need to draw on the kind of forgotten rollover, as I'm calling it, or do I need to, or can I do it? Can I bring this money in and then I'll know by this point what's happening with my wages, hopefully, for that period, and then build in and go from there. And then actually what I would love to be able to do is bring this kind of floating money in my account and go, it's in savings, or let's do this, let's pay this off, let's deal with this thing, let's replace the fridge that's breaking, like the thing. That's what I want to try and go ahead and do. I'm hoping that by setting myself a target and reverse engineering and kind of going like, literally, look, you're going into a minus every single week. It's impossible for you to do this month on £1,500. You have to hit this, and having that money there and having it as a weekly breakdown of a target will be more beneficial. There is the big £5,000 total running in the background, and we are going to be up to nearly kind of the halfway point by now. And it's something I really need to pick up on, or it's a target and a challenge that it's going to completely fall flat on its face and not get done and not achieved. Having now figured out why my Vinted has died a slow death, don't upload different categories that are vastly different to one another and hope that the algorithm is intelligent enough to farm it out to different people. And also giving myself a massive slap on the wrist over the fact that I've not done anything with eBay, and I need to get my Etsy up and running and at least offering physical products to those that want it. No guarantee either that it's going to generate any traffic, but going ahead and getting that done. I would have liked to have done a live this week. I kind of, because of obviously me assembling the bundles and sorting out the physical products, it's a good thing that I can be doing and chatting away at, but I've just not been well enough to, and I've now got housework to get on top of today because, again, hosting, and then I am busy tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, so no live this week, and I'm going to try and pre-record some videos throughout today to get that done and sorted for you. I'm tempted to not bring any rollover in at all. I'm tempted to not roll over the car boot earnings. I'm tempted to not roll over the flow that's floating outside my budget. I'm tempted to go in with a clean £1,500 and go, you've got to get this done. Like, £1,500 isn't enough. So what are you going to do about it? Rather than giving myself the sense of security that I've given myself, because I think I was at my best bringing in extra income when there was a genuine panic and a genuine fear that I wasn't going to be able to do what I need to do. So I need to tap into that again. Thank you, lovely lot, for sitting with me while I pulled together a June's budget. Again, not feeling my best. I'm now going to go feed the cat and get him sorted. And have another coffee because this one's cold. She says drinking it anyway. Have a fantastic budgeting week. I will see you all tomorrow, definitely tomorrow, with another video. And I'm going to love you and leave you. Bye bye for now.